listeners, and welcome to a new episode of Never Seen It. My name is Betsy, and with me is Trent.
Hello, other listeners.
Today, we are in the throes of Oscar. Now, by the time you're listening to this, the Academy Award nominations have been released, but we're doing this in the past where the nominations are not finalized. However, we recently watched the Golden Globes, and the movie that took home Best Picture for Drama was this film that we're going to be covering today. And we've been hearing a lot about what are the potential nominees, what's going to be up there for the final up to 10 movies, and Emilia Pérez keeps turning up on all of them.
Yeah, everybody's kind of got this movie on their list. It's not necessarily everybody's favorite movie, but it's way up there, so here we are.
Now, Trent, I think you and I have been hinting at our apprehension about watching this movie.
Only a little bit.
Because unlike a lot of the Best Picture nominees that we've covered so far, the discourse on the internet amongst people who love movies is that maybe this movie is not as good as the rest of them, but it's getting a lot of attention, and there's kind of a disconnect for those two things. If you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, this by far has the lowest critics and audience score of the rest of the movies that we've covered to date.
Yeah. And honestly, like the feeling that I'm getting here, and I didn't really pay attention way back when, but when the movie Crash won Best Picture at the Oscars that year that it got nominated, I feel like this is the same kind of vibe. Like no one really likes it who really pays attention, but I mean, maybe Oscar voters really like it. I don't know.
It does feel like that. It feels like the Crash, the Green Book, the movie where it's just like, I mean, it's fine, but it has a lot of problems, but it's a message kind of movie. And these are all just, this is hearsay. This is what we have heard on the internet. These are not personal opinions. This is just the overall vibe, the sense that we have been getting, and why we're kind of not that thrilled about the concept of watching it.
Yeah, and that's all to say, we haven't really sought out any information about this movie. Everything that I've heard is all hearsay from other people talking about it. So I know the next question you're going to ask me is, what do I know about the movie? And I mean, it is about like a Mexican drug cartel. One of the main characters is a trans woman. Zoe Saldana is also in it, but it's also a musical.
Yeah, you were about a week ago years old before you knew this was actually a musical.
Yeah. I mean, much like all of the other musicals that are the really high profile ones, they don't market movies as musicals anymore, period.
Which
even
is
the
so
ones,
stupid.
Even the ones that are like based on real musicals. But like the criticisms that I'm hearing about this is the representation is not all the way there. So this is taking place in Mexico. They didn't film it in Mexico. The one like person that they're referring to as Mexican is not Mexican, they're Spanish. Most people in the movie speak Spanish.
But they're American.
And
it's a French director.
Yeah, it's really all over the place. Not that I really care that much about it, but these are the things that people get up in arms about. Now again, like every other movie that we cover on our shows, Betsy and I have an open mind. Just like I had a really open mind when I walked in to see Wicked, I came out of that movie really liking it. Go and listen to that episode and you'll hear it for yourself. But for this movie, I really don't know what the structure of the movie is. I don't know if it is full-ass musical where like 80% of all dialogue is sung, or if it's just, you know, music is in there a little bit.
Like dream sequence or like an imagination. Like how is the music represented on the screen?
Yeah. So I don't know if you know any more about it than I do.
I really don't, because this was a movie somebody mentioned to me months ago, and I said, I literally have never heard of that. And they said to me, oh, you will. It's like, oh, okay. And that was literally the first time that I got kind of negative energy about the movie.
Yeah.
So yes, we're going in with kind of this mindset just because this is what we've heard. Maybe it'll surprise us. I'm trying to be positive about it. Yeah. I think we're going to find good things in it because I don't think it would be nominated for Best Picture if it didn't have some qualities worth recognizing. I've heard that Zoe Saldana is really, really good. I've heard things that are positive. So with that, we're going to go watch Emilia Pérez. We will be right back. And that was Emilia Pérez. Trent, do you feel that our concerns were identified, that you found yourself surprised by the movie? How are you feeling after watching that?
I think our apprehension behind actually wanting to watch the movie was founded in reality, because after coming out of that movie, I'm feeling a lot of things, both positive and negative. On one hand, you've got the story of a person who is going through the transition in their life. That's an important bit of this. It's also a musical. It's also a story about a drug cartel and this mob boss, whatever you want to call it. We also got the story of the lawyer who is representing this person who is going through the transition, who is the mob boss, and everything under the sun. I don't know what this movie wants to be.
I would say that the movie is well made as far as like from a film making perspective. But all I kept thinking was this movie's really heavy-handed. It's very heavy-handed and it's inauthentic to me. And I just, again, very briefly read about this movie and things that people are saying. The director is extremely French, and he basically came out and said, I don't know anything about Mexico, but I learned a little, and that was good enough for me.
Yeah.
And that's how it feels. Like, I think there are some things in this movie that if this was made by somebody from the trans community, if this was made by somebody who maybe isn't from that community, but is Mexican, somebody who understands at least a little bit about what life in Mexico actually is. Because yes, there is a very large problem with cartels and drugs, and thousands of people go missing every single year.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of devastating stories that come out of Mexico all the time. And that is why there is this, global perception. Oh, it's this terrible place. It's not a terrible place. You're just hearing the bad stuff. You're hearing the worst stuff.
Sure.
But if you had a voice, somebody who lived through that or was connected to it, or knew people who had ties to it, this could be an extremely powerful movie. Like that song where Emilia sets up this foundation to find all of the people who have disappeared, to find their bodies. There's, going to people who were in the cartel and saying, where are they buried? What did you do with the bodies? What happened to them? So that we can give closure to these families. That's a wonderful message. But when the families are singing and they're looking straight into the camera, it feels like a lecture. It feels so ridiculous when the man telling them, giving them this direction, has no idea what that experience really is.
Yeah, and I don't really know if the director had any hand in writing this, or if the writers do come from anything like that,
No.
or if this is based on anything.
No, I think I might be adapted from a book, but all of the writers are also French. I was just looking at that because I wanted to know that information.
Okay.
And it's the director who wrote it, and he had two other people who were French who helped him write it. And then there were two other credits, but again, I don't see that the main people who really worked on this have any connection to the source.
From the outside looking at this movie, I feel like, we saw it from minute one of all of the different production houses that had a hand in this thing.
It's a lot.
It feels like every single one of those had their pet thing that they wanted to throw in there. Maybe one guy wanted it to be about a trans person. Another person wanted it to be about the drug cartel. Another person wanted it to be a musical. Another person wanted it to be about this lawyer. There's so many different hands in this, and there isn't a singular direction. There isn't a singular message that the movie is. And you don't have to have a singular message in your movie. Plenty of Oscar-nominated movies have many, many messages in them. However, this is a disjointed mess of a movie.
Yeah, it feels like some of the structure's there. I don't think it was the worst musical I've ever seen. There were some interesting choices they made. Some of the songs and the musical numbers, I was like, okay, like the way it starts, the very, very first song when she's like rehearsing the opening arguments for this case that she's going to do.
Yeah.
And the crowd is like really dynamic and they're moving. That was kind of interesting. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of a cool way to set it up. But then it's like some of it was all fantasy and some of it was in reality. And everybody just sort of gets their own song.
Yeah,
and
it's inconsistent
Yeah.
at the very least when it comes to the musical portion of this. And I don't know really how to cover a movie like this without really focusing in on the fact that it is a musical about very, very serious topics. And I think that's the rub for me. The filmmakers, I don't think really had a serious tone throughout any of it. The filmmakers, I believe, just didn't have a vision as to, okay, how do I handle this topic? How do I handle this very serious topic of the trans community and treat it with respect and seriousness that it deserves? They didn't do that.
Do you think it adds or detracts that it's a musical?
It completely detracts from it. I think the story here has a right to be told. I think the idea of a Mexican drug cartel leader living a lie and wanting to completely get out of it and transition to being a woman and everything that is involved in that is at least an interesting story. And I think the way they told that part of it was interesting, and getting the lawyer involved and everything like that. But having it be a musical and having all of these different emotional reactions to what's going on here and having it be through song, I feel like it just cheapened the entirety of the story that they're trying to tell.
Yeah, the whole thing about musicals is, why is it necessary for a song at this moment? What are you telling us through song that you can't tell us just by speaking it? It's supposed to be a conveyance of emotions and a conveyance of inner thought. That's the whole point of a musical.
Yeah.
And at times, it's just so melodramatic. Like some of the songs in this, or it's just utterly bizarre. Like when she's going around to the different doctors, and I'm just like, we're going to sing about this?
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah, and I think that is the thing that I found outside of the movie and I encountered online, where it's comparing, oh, it's all of this stuff having, they're comparing it to Wicked, and it's an unfair comparison, but you go from Wicked to this, and these people in Bangkok, the doctors there are singing about penises and vaginas and all of these different procedures. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Do you want to have this kind of plasty? Whatever the fuck. It's done in such an unserious way and with a smile on your face. And no, this is a serious thing. What are you doing here by having it be a song?
Like the moment where she says, "What is that?" and the doctor explains it, and she just goes, "Yes, that."
Yeah.
Like, what? That was a weird moment. Like a weird thing.
Yeah, and it's the tone of all of this that is just so bad.
It's over the top. It's too much. Like I said, it is heavy-handed. Like she also has the song where she's talking to the doctor in Tel Aviv, and this is the guy. She's found the doctor, but he says, "Well, I don't know if I want to do this. You know, I think I can't solve the problems of this person." Maybe basically making a commentary that the idea of being trans is in your head. Like that is a social thing in this world.
I didn't get quite that.
Okay, that's the way I was reading that. And
Yeah.
he basically is saying, you know, you should tell your client to change their mind. And she
Right.
looks dead into the camera and says, "No, it's you who has to change your mind."
Yeah.
Basically, this is the heaviest handed social commentary about the trans community. And it is aggressive, especially when the person saying this is not of that community. I
Yeah.
understand being an ally. Like, sure, you feel this is an important message, an important film, that you want to say this, and I applaud you for that. But it's like staring you dead in the eyes through the camera, lecturing to me. And it's like, dude, I don't need you to preach at me.
You could have done this in such a better way by not having it be so heavy-handed, like you said. Them singing at each other, trying to do the lawyer thing and be convincing toward this doctor to try to get him to agree to do these procedures. And I don't think that he's really questioning a whole lot of it. It's just, hey, I can't really do my doctor thing with you here because you're not actually the client. Why don't you convince them to come here themselves? so that I can evaluate this properly. And
Yeah, as a doctor, you want to know the patient. You want to know why they want to have any procedure
yeah,
and make sure that it's the right thing for your patient.
I'm going off of you yourself. I don't know who the hell you are, why you are here representing this other person. I don't understand what's going on here. And I need to do my job as a doctor here to make sure that I'm not just going to show up somewhere, do these procedures on somebody who is actually not willing. So that is an important message right there. This is huge. You do not do this lightly.
No, this is between the doctor and the patient, as it should be.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that is included in the film, because that is one of those topics that comes up a lot in our modern society.
But again, you're doing it here as this sing-song, singing at each other. Like, one person is trying to say, oh, you're being a bad person by not accepting this entirely. But also the doctor is trying to be pragmatic about everything and saying, you know what? This is not being done lightly here. I don't want to just show up and do these procedures on somebody who shouldn't have them.
It's also the biggest problem with it. It is being told from the perspective of a cis woman, a cis straight woman, who is the protagonist of this movie. Zoe Saldana is the lead of this movie. You can campaign her all you want as the supporting actress because the movie's called Emilia Pérez, so that makes her the lead. No, more of the screen time we are spent with Rita. We are spent with her, and she is the one like giving us these lectures about you should acknowledge their humanity and that they have feelings, this community of people, and that this individual wants to do this.
But
it's
she
not
doesn't even do that.
But it's not coming from Emilia. We don't get a lot of that.
Which
Emilia,
I understand in the context of the movie, this person cannot be seen outside of their trailer, you know? They are a drug cartel member, leader, whatever the fuck, and they want to leave that life. So what do? You hire a lawyer, you make them rich, and they want to disappear, essentially. They want to go and have these procedures. I'm done living this lie and living this life.
But we barely get anything from Emilia to explain why. Like, it just
we get a couple of songs.
We get a couple of moments, but that's it. More of the time is other people talking about how great Emilia Pérez is. It's not really... We're talking about Emilia. We're not hearing Emilia speak. That is the difference here. And this movie could have been forward-thinking and progressive and important if it really was Emilia Pérez's movie. And it's not. That's just a fact. It is not her movie.
I get that. It is a structural problem more than anything else about the movie.
It's that thing of like the white savior. It's not that in this movie, obviously, because these are people of color. But if you had an equivalent of that, that's what this is.
Well, it's somebody with a lot of money. It is somebody with money and resources and everybody at their beck and call to try to have this transition happen the way they want it to happen. Not everybody can actually do something like that. And I think that portion of it is a disservice to the message that they're trying to really put across. When in reality, most people do not have the means to go through this transition by themselves with no money.
To live their true, authentic lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have said it before in similar kinds of movies that we have covered. We are not of this community. We are not Hispanic. We are not in the queer community, in the trans community.
Basically, no one in this movie is like us.
No. And it is not up to us to tell this story. We can watch this movie and, we're definitely allies. I would say that is true.
Sure.
But it's not like I'm going to go out and make a movie about this. And that's how this feels. It feels like if I woke up one day and made a righteous movie about topics I don't understand. That's what this feels like to me. And it's frankly insulting to me as somebody who does know people in this community.
Yeah.
And the struggles that they go through and the climate that we are in and how the outside world is projecting onto them.
I feel like this movie is one of these movies, and I hate to say something like this, but it comes off very preachy and it comes off very Oscar baity, for lack of a better word.
100% Oscar bait.
But I don't think it should have been better. There is a good story here you could have told, even if it's completely fake. Go from being this cartel leader to basically retiring and then having a part of your family's life years and years later of them not even recognizing you. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a devastating storyline to have your family right there, but you can't tell them the truth. You can't tell them why you feel this way and who you really are. It's too dangerous for you. It's too dangerous for them. It's also making amends for all the bad things you did in your life. Like when Emilia wakes up one day and says, I did something good and it made me feel like the person I'm supposed to be.
I loved myself at that moment.
I loved myself. That's a great moment and a great message. And all of the arc leading up to that, you know, from the worst person in the worst part of Mexico, having to do terrible things just to survive, becoming the person you want to be, and making amends for the wrongs in your life that you have caused.
Yeah, and like the one thing that I thought about in this moment here is that, oh, you really shouldn't be on the news, lady. You should not be out there with your name and your face and have everybody see you and give you attention. Boy, there's a lot of people who might recognize you and start asking questions about where the fuck did you get all your money?
There were some things there where I'm just like, oh, this is going to end badly. Like when she says, I need my children, please bring them back from Switzerland. And when Selena Gomez calls her old boyfriend and is like, I got a call from a distant relative of his and
I'm back in town.
So we should meet up again.
Let's hook up again.
And then later on, as she decides that relationship is worth pursuing, Emilia cannot help but revisit the past and rehash things that she should be leaving alone.
She lets it slip. She lets herself slip into what she used to be and not necessarily, hey, I used to be a man or anything like that. No, she's slipping back into being a fucking mob boss.
A bad person.
Yes. Doing bad things to other people and using violence to get their own way.
And then that violence is countered with more violence, which is how the fucking movie ends in a fiery explosion.
Yeah.
Like the movie just sort of ends. Like it escalates extremely quickly and then they all crash in a car and then the car explodes.
I feel like this movie was on a collision course, no pun intended here, to try to be the big message movie of the Oscars. Almost every single movie, I mentioned it in the intro, like the fucking Crash movie. Okay, that movie, again, was on a collision course of being this message movie, and it just doesn't earn it.
No, it would make more sense. It would make me feel things if it was coming from an authentic place. If it was coming from somebody who actually knew the history of Mexico or the current political climates in Mexico, the drug cartels in Mexico, anything at all that is accurate about Mexico. If it was that at least. Like maybe you're not part of the trans community, but you know people who are, but you're at least from this country and can speak to what it's really like there. Knowing enough about it and being pragmatic about it, it's just really hard to sit through and go, oh my God, I feel like such a better person having watched this movie. The struggles that some people go through.
Yeah, it is that kind of an attitude of a rich white woman looking at this movie and saying, this movie is so important. I can't believe that more people aren't watching it. I can't believe that people are being mean to the movie. Why do you hate trans people?
And then there's also kind of commentary on that, where like all of the bad people are at the fundraiser and she has a whole song about these are all the worst people and we're going to take your money. We're going to make you pay and do the good things with your money.
And that's the thing though. Emilia Pérez knows how this game is played in Mexico. If they were to have used this moment in a better way rather than having a fucking song and dance number, Rita knows all this too. That's what she's singing about. She's the lawyer at the beginning of the movie singing about this guy that she's defending who she knows killed his wife. So she understands this world better than anybody else, and she knows all these people in the room are corrupt as hell. And why are we taking all of this dirty money? But she goes along with it. She goes along with it. I don't understand that portion of her character. And I really want to talk about her more because the Emilia Pérez character is all over the place. Rita is interesting to me.
Well, let's do that. But first, we're going to take a quick break to take a word from our sponsor. What's the matter, Billy? You look bored just sitting there clicking that pen.
Well, Becky, I've already listened to this week's episode of Never Seen It, and there's nothing left for me to do. Guess I'll just sit here and click this pen until next Sunday.
Wait, Billy, what if I told you that the Never Seen It crew puts out 4 other shows every month?
4 shows? How do I get those?
It's easy. Just go to patreon.com/neverseenitpod, and for $5 per month, you get access to all their extra content.
Wow, that sounds a whole lot better than clicking this pen.
It sure does, Billy. It sure does. So let's talk about the actors in this movie. So this is another one of those things that I get hung up on. Like, the leads of this film are all women. Maybe we could have found a female director who could have told this story more effectively. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents as a woman.
That's a different topic.
But the person with the most screen time is Zoe Saldana. If I want to say one positive thing about this movie, I actually think the acting throughout is pretty good. I think sometimes
when it's just acting.
Yes. I think sometimes it goes maybe a little too far, a little too big, and it becomes too much. But then there are other times where it's very authentic and very real. Like the opening sequence with her as Rita, I didn't mind it. I thought that there are moments where she really shines in this movie.
Yeah, it gives a snapshot of where she is in her lawyering career, if you want to call it that. Like, she's got a song here about, hey, I don't make a lot of money. All these guys are getting credit for my work.
I work for bad people, basically.
Yeah, and I'm doing things that I don't really want to be doing. I don't want to defend this murderer. I know he killed his wife and whatever else. So she gets this opportunity from this random phone call, and she wants to be rich and famous like everybody else in the world, but this is a way that she can use her skills. And she says that she's got a whole lot of skills that are just being put to waste. And if she has an opportunity to do that and maybe make a name for herself, she's going to take the opportunity. So I get that portion of it.
What I didn't like about this was how money made her pretty. That seemed really stupid to me. Did you notice she was like really plain in the beginning and she's wearing cheap clothes and she has thick eyebrows?
I don't notice things like that, Betsy.
It was too much. And then she gets money and then she's like trying on cute little leopard print skirts. And then 4 years later, she's beautiful Zoe Saldana. And I'm like, uh-huh.
Well, and there's also that moment there where like after she pays all the money to fly first class all the way to Bangkok or going to all these different places and meeting these doctors, the thugs show up and put a fucking plastic bag over her head, and they tell her, you're spending all my money, you're doing all this stuff, you're wasting my time, do not waste my time, you need to get this done.
I'm not paying you to act like a big shot.
Yeah.
Like, fucking figure it out. So we set up that this guy's bad. He's a bad person.
He does bad
things. And has a lot of resources to make her life really difficult.
Yeah, and he is monitoring all of her moves to ensure that he gets what he wants.
And like, there's the moment where she has done her job and she's gotten the family to Switzerland and she's connected with the doctor and her piece of it is finished. And she has that moment of release in the car where she's like laughing and crying and she's just like, oh my God, it's over. It's over. I can move on with my life.
Which, okay, that moment right there, I wrote down something to the effect of, man, this emotional moment here, I don't think is earned.
Or there's the moment where they're at the dinner party 4 years later and she realizes who it is she's sitting next to when she first meets Emilia Pérez.
Yeah.
And like the lights go dark and it's just focused on them. And she's just like, what are you going to do? Are you tying up loose ends? Are you here to kill me? Like, why are you here? And there's like a turn where she feels afraid and she's nervous. And yeah, there's stuff like that where I'm like, okay, I understand why people are paying attention to her performance in the movie.
That song right there about, hey, basically don't lie to me about why you're here.
This wasn't just coincidence.
This is not just a chance encounter. I know you're here. You do not make mistakes. So like even the framing of that song and that encounter where, like you said, the lights go out, it's just them on screen. And then when the song ends, the lights come back up and everybody starts to have their conversations again.
And then they move on with the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But the long and short of it is, regardless of the performance, anything else like that, the fact that she is being campaigned as a supporting actress is fucking ridiculous. It is ridiculous. She is the lead of this movie. And I get why. I understand why you're doing it, because in a movie called Emilia Pérez, where you have a trans actress playing that part.
A real trans actress.
A real trans actress, not somebody who is acting trans, which we have had on film many times before.
Oh, yes.
Carla Sofia Garzón, she is here in this role and also very good in the movie, but she does not show up for 40 minutes into the movie.
Well, that's not her fault.
It's not her fault. And then she's just also sort of there for a lot of the movie. But she is the one being campaigned for lead because, again, she is Emilia Pérez, and it feels like that thing where we have made an important movie and we need to take an important stance to put this person as the lead actress.
Yeah, I have less of a problem with it, Betsy. I feel like the entirety of the movie is surrounding Emilia Pérez, even though the actress is not on screen the entire time.
I understand that, but because this feels so Oscar baity, it feels like that's the statement they're trying to make here.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I would much rather they were campaigning both of them as lead.
Fine.
And let the chips fall where they may.
Fine. I would be completely okay with that.
And then you could have fit Selena Gomez in the supporting category, because Selena's kind of getting shoved to the side and forgotten about in this whole conversation.
Yeah, so let's talk about her. I kind of like Selena Gomez in this movie as this supporting person. I think she has the emotion there. I think it's believable that she is feeling all these feelings. The stuff that I did not like about her role in this is when they turned her into a pop princess, okay?
Where she's just like, I'm having a little fantasy about, oh, my life's so hard.
Yeah,
you
she
know,
gets
live here with the money.
She gets the song about the golden handcuffs and how she's just, all her life is completely ruined now that she had to move back to Mexico and everything like that. Then she also is partying with Gustavo at the karaoke bar. And again, it's turning into this weird music video with Selena Gomez. That's the filmmaker's fault, not her.
Yeah, and it is strange. It's like, what did that song have to do with anything?
Nothing.
It was just a reason to have Selena Gomez sing.
Yes. It goes back to my problem with the fucking movie Licorice Pizza, with the band Haim being a central portion of that movie.
They're just all over.
It just seems like you wanted to have Haim in your movie, and the same thing about Selena Gomez. And again, that's not her fault. I think the acting is really good. She's having a real moment here with that TV show that she's on, so good for her.
Yeah, I'm not mad about you being here. Just again, like at the end where there's like a death scene and she knows the truth. It's like, oh God, what have I done? I feel such remorse for my bad decisions. And then a big confrontation in the car, and then the movie's just over.
Yeah, and in that scene there where Emilia Pérez is almost dying and she's admitting everything, it's her big confession moment. It's also transitioning into song while all this gunfire is happening, but then the gunfire starts to fade out, and then we're hearing the confession, and it's all of this at once. And yeah, I did not like that moment.
No. So let's go back to Carla Sofia Garzón, who plays Emilia Pérez.
Okay.
So this is her throughout the movie. She's made up as the cartel leader, I'm assuming, because I don't know why they wouldn't have her play that part.
Yeah.
It's a lot of makeup, unrecognizable in this, and there's definitely a change in the appearance, which you would expect, and why Rita would never recognize her, because she's had a full transformation. She's had 4 years to come into this identity to really feel like Emilia Pérez. And I liked the sequence, like where she wakes up in the hospital and she's having like slow moments of, it's here. I'm finally me.
Yeah.
And she's saying her name out loud and just like having little moments where she smiles and laughs, and serenity is finally washing over her.
And doing something very mundane like putting on a bra that she's never had to do before. But hey, it's something that you have to do as a woman.
Yes. And like when she reveals herself to Rita at the restaurant and says, it's me and you didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't recognize me. And that's a wonderful feeling for me. I'm a new person.
Right.
But also I'm a sad person. I'm miserable because I have been without my kids for 4 years, and I want you to bring them back to Mexico for me.
Yeah, and I think it's when the doctor has come to do his little interview to make sure that this is what he really wants. And he admits to the doctor by saying, you know, I felt this way my entire life since I was a kid, and I thought about killing myself, but it would be unfair to do that without living their full life and transitioning to be the person that they've always wanted to be.
To at least give it a try, to give it, put that effort in, to live truly as myself. It would be unfair if I was just gone and never pursued that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a sad thought. And there's so many people in the world who feel this way. So that's a really good moment. And as I said, when we are waking up with Emilia in the hospital, there's some really nice moments there.
Yeah.
There's also some really great moments like when she's reunited with her kids and she immediately starts hugging them and kissing them. And we're both like, calm down, Emilia. They've never met you before.
Yeah, and I think the other really good moment, it's even the musical moment where it's the half in, half out song where I'm in the gangster life, but I'm also out of the gangster life. It's half in, half out in every part of her life.
And that's representative of just anybody. There's parts of your life you want to move on from. And it's really hard to do, especially when in her situation, she was out of it. She was away from it. But because she has kids and a wife and things that have tied her to the life, she can't completely remove herself from it.
Yeah.
So when her wife, who has no idea that Emilia is her husband, who she thinks is dead, there's no connection there. She doesn't know the truth. It's not Jesse's fault that she is going out and dating this guy, but Emilia cannot help contain the curiosity and the jealousy and wants to say the things that she never said when they were together. But
how do you do that?
But how do you do that without revealing yourself? And Jesse has moved on and the jealousy comes out and, she has an outburst and attacks Jesse. And it's all of those things that she thought she had moved on from. And again, very good in this scene where she is like suddenly letting that past self and the jealousy take over.
Yeah.
And like the split screen where Rita's in the middle and Emilia's over here and Jesse's over here.
Middle,
and they're all fighting.
Yeah, when the money gets cut off and Jesse starts questioning, how the fuck does the cousin, aunt, whatever the fuck she is,
where does she get off?
How does she have access to my accounts? She's starting to, not put the pieces together, but she's asking the right questions.
Right, but she just thinks this bitch is crazy.
Well, of course.
She's just like, who the hell is this woman trying to steal my kids from me?
Yeah, my kids.
My kids.
Yeah, she says, I want my kids. You will not take my kids away. Well, what the fuck are you talking about, lady? That's your nieces or nephews, whatever.
Not even that. That's like a way to phrase it, but she's just some distant relative.
Yeah.
So I get it totally from Jesse's perspective. Like, I don't know at what point Emilia was planning on revealing the truth. I'm gonna guess it wasn't after she got kidnapped and get her fingers cut off, but it's like, yeah, because you slipped, you backtracked and you made a bad choice. That person you used to be, you've been doing such good work. You've been uniting these families and doing, this foundation and great work. And in one moment, you slipped backwards and hired some thugs to beat the shit out of this guy because you don't want your kids taken away. You listened to that really bad part of your brain and made a dumb decision.
When in reality, she should just be honest with herself and say, this was never going to work all the way.
Or she needs to be honest with Jesse and say, this is who I am and what's going on with me. And instead, it escalates because Jesse and Gustavo go both a little bit nuts. Again, the bad decision was countered by another bad decision.
Yeah.
And they like cut off her fingers and kidnap her. And it's not until it was a literal magical smoke cloud revived Emilia Pérez that she was like, I have to tell you the truth about myself. And then Jesse goes, oh God, what have I done? But to get there, it's such an arc. And these are the things that I just really struggled with. This should be a powerful moment in the movie. There are several things that should be really powerful moments in this movie that I should feel something. I felt fucking nothing watching this movie.
Not a thing.
I did not feel emotional. I did not feel connected to these characters. I didn't feel like they were fully realized human beings. There was just something missing. And I think it's because of the people presenting this movie. I think the authenticity of the voices was really not there. It was very hollow. And it's just people who don't know what they're talking about making a movie to make themselves feel like, look, we see you and you're important.
But take yourself out of that thing. If you just watched this movie not knowing any of that stuff, what would your reaction really be?
It's true. We'll never know. But I just feel like the movie's not the worst movie I've ever seen. Okay. Like I said, there's some well-made things about the movie. Like the acting, for the most part, is pretty good. I think the casting is good. I think some of the musical numbers are good and interesting. Like I said, the opening sequence is dynamic and cool, and people are very, very excited about this soundtrack. I think if I were to just listen to the soundtrack and not have to be like reading and watching at the same time, that's really, really hard.
That was the hardest part for me anyway, like wanting to absorb what I'm looking at.
The visuals.
All of the dancing and the set pieces and everything like that. But I also have to look at the subtitles to get the lyrics to find out what the fuck they're talking about. And that's us. I mean, if we knew Spanish, it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Or if we're those people that just watch it overdubbed in English, we could have done that, but we don't like that experience.
No, we're not going to do that.
But I've said it before, there's movies like this where it's not in English, and I would like the opportunity to see it again so that I could just watch the movie and not have to worry about the dialogue. But when I'm doing both things, it's like, okay, I'm really struggling to keep up. But regardless of that, I don't think that there's a lot in this movie for me specifically. Like there's nothing.
And there doesn't need to be anything there for us.
But I can connect to a lot of movies that I should have no connection to. Like in the past, I've fully cried about things I've never experienced or places I've never been to.
Yeah, and that's what I'm coming back to here. If they took this movie and really had a distinct message and a point without being distracted. This shiny thing over here, it's Selena Gomez. Shiny thing over here, it's a musical dance number. Shiny thing over here, it's a Mexican drug cartel, and you're gonna have a gunfight.
Also, it's really modern because look at who our lead of the movie is and what the story is about.
Yes. If it had a trajectory from beginning to end and you knew exactly what was going to happen as a filmmaker, how to get there. But no, it just felt like you were distracted by all the shiny things around you and you wanted to have all of it on screen all at the same time. The one thing that they paid off, they set it up and they paid it off. It's Rita's desire to have children. She hasn't found a man yet because she's too busy with her career. She's 40 by the end of the movie and she still hasn't had any kids. Well, guess what? Now you do.
Yeah, because
that's the payoff.
Your parents died in a fiery crash because they were terrible to each other. But you don't know that because you're children.
Yeah.
You'll learn that some other day.
Right.
But yeah, I think this movie was not unexpected. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to align myself with a lot of those criticisms that I have heard.
Sure. And I think me not really knowing a lot of that stuff, I think I'm going to have the same reaction as I am right now.
Yeah,
regardless of that.
You at least were somewhat removed because you don't spend a lot of time on film Twitter and areas like that.
But I really don't.
I've just heard enough from enough sources that I was concerned, and I think those concerns were founded. I think there are very valid criticisms about this movie. I don't think it's the worst movie that's ever been made. I think that there should be more movies with appropriate representation on the screen.
Yep. But those movies can also be bad.
Yes, I would like them to be good so that we can actually get a good one to say, look at this movie.
But at the same time, you can have a good movie that has great storytelling and everything else and have completely wrong representation, have that be a distraction.
It's true. Okay, well, let's wrap up this conversation with the reason we're here, which is Oscars. So at the time of this recording, the Academy Award nominations have not been released. We had to do this in advance, and they pushed the announcements back. We were hoping that we would know by now what has actually been nominated. But this movie has consistently been on a lot of Best Picture lists. And I would say there's kind of two reasons for it. One, it's the older people who see this movie and go, wow, it's progressive.
What a powerful message.
What a powerful message. And 2, it's the international audience because you've got a lot of countries. Like this movie, if you recall the Golden Globes, it was not just France. It's like France and this country all presenting this together.
Yeah. Again, I go back to what I mentioned earlier. All of the production houses at the beginning of this movie, it took almost an entire minute to get through all the different logos. Why? Why do you need so many different studios? And again, that's pulling this movie in so many different directions. And that's why it's a mess. But Oscars, it's probably going to get nominated for Best Picture. We wouldn't be doing it otherwise. As far as other main things, definitely not director. Zoe Saldana has a pretty good chance, I think. As a supporting actress, if that's what they're putting it towards.
If you're campaigning her and supporting, I think she's got a fair shot.
And that's fine. I got no problem with that.
I have no problem with Carla Sofia Garçon being nominated in lead, if that's where you want to put her. I just want to see what the rest of the lineup is, because I think there is a lot of women who are very deserving of being nominated for lead actress this year. And if she's nominated at the expense of somebody else, that would bother me.
Well,
because it's not that her performance is bad, but is it really warranting a Best Actress nomination?
I am reminded of what we were talking about this time last year when a gal like Margot Robbie was not nominated for best lead actress. However, a person like Annette Bening also getting nominated in there. She deserved it. From most people who saw that movie, they said that she deserved the nomination.
But they didn't. A lot of people didn't like that movie, so then they were mad.
No. They didn't watch the movie. That's what.
Or that, yeah.
Everybody watched fucking Barbie, so they're all up in arms about Margot Robbie not getting it.
Shut up. Annette Bening is a national treasure.
She is.
She deserves nice things.
She is, absolutely. So,
yes. So I'm not poo-pooing if she gets nominated for Emilia Pérez, not Annette Bening for Carla. But I think I need to see the whole landscape because there are so many people, and I just wasn't enraptured with her in this movie. Then I'm like, okay, do you need to be in the mix? That's all. I think Selena's out of the question because they've put all their weight behind Zoe, and frankly, of the two, she's fine. She's the more obvious choice.
I got no problem with leaving her out of the conversation, but as far as the rest of the stuff here,
song, it's
fine.
probably gonna win for best original song just because it already did at Golden Globes.
Well, and Wicked can't do it because none of those were original for the movie. It's not going to get any kind of screenplay, anything. It might get
nominated for like adapted. I think this is an adapted screenplay, but I'm not sure.
Still, it hasn't been nominated for any of the other awards.
I think it was. I think it was nominated for a Golden Globe, but
whatever.
Listen, I think this is one of those movies that is going to shock the hell out of us, and it's going to take so many nominations. This could be the most nominated movie of the year because when you've got somebody like Netflix behind it, they are going to push the shit out of this movie.
And they got nothing else.
And given the response, Netflix is absolutely determined to pick up those fucking Oscars. That is the thing I am noticing the last few years.
Yeah, I get that. But again, they have nothing else to really offer this year. This is their one entry. So
this is the horse.
Of course they're going to push it. And I don't like that. It doesn't matter what I think, though.
No. And with preferential voting, we'll see. There isn't a clear frontrunner this year, and
we're gonna find out once the nominations are actually
there's gonna be a much larger conversation that we have. We always do an annual Oscar special on Oscar Sunday. You can hear our full report of all the Best Picture nominees and what we think may happen and what we want to happen. But that's still gonna be a few weeks away. So we would like to know in the meantime, have you seen Emilia Pérez? Did you like Emilia Pérez? If nothing else, people have feelings about it. So
sure, people have opinions.
I would like to hear your opinion because I've also heard from people who love this movie. So give me the counterpoint. I want you to tell me exactly what it is you loved about it. Send us an email, neverseenapod@gmail.com. We do have an email from our superfan Stephanie about the other musical we covered recently, and that is Wicked. She begins, I really liked this movie, even though it was incredibly long and a two-parter. Wicked the book is so good, and I think Trent would actually like it. It is super dark. My husband loves the book and refuses to watch the musical. So that's interesting because you've taken something that is like dark and moody and turned it into something bright and sparkly with the musical.
With a whole bunch of songs.
I'm always fascinated with the source material and the differences. I personally love both the book and the musical, but you have to separate them as two different stories that follow a similar plot line. I have heard this, that the book is quite different. I think the movie does the stage show justice, and I like the changes they made. I even liked Ariana Grande in the movie, despite strongly disliking all the press for it. She seemed super annoying.
Okay.
Return to Oz is legit nightmare fuel. Horrifying.
I remember Stephanie talking to us about Return to Oz when we've mentioned it. I don't even remember the context.
Sometimes it just comes
I
up
think
for
we were
reasons.
talking about Fairuza Balk when we did that
Probably.
witch movie.
The Craft, yes.
Yes.
And she concludes, as far as awards go, I can definitely see production and costumes. The actors all did fantastic, but I just don't know what else is out there. Love you guys, from Superfan Stephanie.
That's really the consensus. Nobody's really gone out of their way to see a whole lot of movies to really judge the acting of a lot of different other movies that are out there from last year, and I don't really know what to think. I mean, until the nominations are out, and of course, by the time this episode is out, all the nominations are out, so we're completely behind, but it is what it is.
We're either really on the ball and we have seen most of the movies at this point that are nominated for Best Picture, or something absolutely insane has happened that you're all reacting to, and we're in the past and don't know about it yet.
At best, we're having to cover like three more movies, I should say. But it's also very possible that we've completely missed the mark and we need to really double down here.
Yeah, unless something truly unexpected happened this morning when the nominations were released. I think we're in a fair spot.
I think so too.
But of course, because we don't know what the nominations are, and because we are in the past and you are in the future, we don't have the next movie queued up for what's going to be released next week. We'll probably put that out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, just follow our social media stuff and we'll let you know what's coming next week.
And you can do that on any of those pages. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. Send us a message if you really want to know. Otherwise, watch those spaces for us to announce what the next movie is going to be. Because when this episode is out, we will know what the next movie is going to be. Some of them, it's always interesting. What's the hard one to get? I think we know which one that is this year, but we've got at least a few more to go, and then we're going to see. We're going to see if we have all of these weeks until Oscars to cover movies. If, however, you are an impatient person and you don't want to wait to find out what our next movie is, you can actually listen to an entire year's worth of content over on our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/neverseenitpod, where we've got a full 12 months and almost an entire additional month here for January of the Never Seen It Movie Club, and Real Love, and Box Set, and The Wayback Machine, and
we just premiered our brand new show, Never Scream It 101. It just premiered last Wednesday. Episode 1 about the Blair Witch Project is up for everybody to enjoy. Patreon.com/neverseenitpod.
$5 a month gets you all of those shows, plus some extra content that we throw in there. It is going to be an extra episode this month because we always have 4 standard, but there's 5 Wednesdays in January.
That's right.
So you're going to get a bonus something. We haven't really figured out what it is.
We haven't decided what that is yet.
But it's coming. The last Wednesday, there will be a bonus.
I promise you, we haven't missed one yet.
So all of that can be found, once again, patreon.com/neverseenitpod. That is going to do it for Emilia Pérez. We will have a brand new episode coming to you next week. Stay tuned for what that movie is going to be. Until that time, we thank you as always for listening. My name is Betsy.
My name is Trent.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.